I mean, you can be passionate about multiple things, and that's the, I mean, at least that's my philosophy. For me, I think it was a curiosity that drove me, um, and at that time, validation was easy amongst friends and family, and then you kind of double down on it, and then you only get better when you start practicing, learning, training yourself. It's like any art form, right? Fighting for validation after a point just stop making sense. You go ahead and do what you believe. Sure, the world will call you crazy, but that's okay. There's a point of time in your life where you are more than that one idea. And that was also shaped by Sandy's for me, saying that you don't let one restaurant or brand define who you are, and which is probably why I kind of broke that shackle and went and did other things and not necessarily just scale Sandy's as a brand. And it also is very effortless for me because I don't like to complicate what I cook. It's very simple and it kind of reflects in the kind of food we put out also. But be very process oriented. It's true to what we do. Is a chef's jacket. I think we've done a phenomenal job.
Right.
I mean, you'll get an average meal in Chennai, but it's very rare to find a bad meal in Chennai.
நீங்க வாழ்க்கை முழுக்க ரஸ்க் மட்டும் தான் சாப்பிட்டுருக்கீங்க.
பல்ல இருந்தா பக்கோடா சாப்பிடலாம்.
Right. So what
I have strong teeth. What can I say?
Okay. Welcome to Listen with Sriram, where real stories unfold, where we go behind the glory, the philosophy, the breaking point, the way they see the world, and more importantly, the creative touch that makes them who they are. Every conversation here is one real person, unfiltered, their story, their way, to inspire you to lead your story your way. My guest today served desserts in beakers and syringes before experiential dining was even a thing in Chennai. He didn't go to culinary school. He went with his gut, and in doing so, he inspired an entire generation in Chennai to fall in love with cafes, desserts, chocolates, and more importantly, the fact that food has to be experienced, felt, and not just tasted. But today, he's simply Sandesh with us. Before we go into the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Listen with Sriram and follow us on Instagram for more real conversations. Welcome, Sandesh, to the show.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you for having me.
Right. So, just to start with, what's been happening the last week? How do you feel right now? So, what are things that are going on?
I mean, the restaurant business is usually one dumpster fire after another. So, I mean, I guess it's like a series of constant small fires that you put out. I mean, it's the nature of the business.
Right.
But it is exciting times. I mean, gives me chance to now be more in creative control than I was a few years ago, because I have obviously my team now that runs most of the operational things, and I continue to do what I genuinely got into doing this for. So I can just focus on the food and the food aspect of that business now. So so it's just a whole bunch of new creative projects that are going to unfold in the next 2-3 months that you'll see.
Right. No, when you just said creative projects, I'm just, recently I was just shocked to the extent of creativity that you could go to with Slurp Shop, right? Because like you literally had people, give you ideas, you were open to a lot of things, and to me at least, and to a lot of people that I know, right? When you go in with an idea and especially when you're in the execution phase, the last thing that you would want is someone saying, hey, in the color nalla irukume, or just do this, like, are you sure of what you're doing? All these kind of questions really frustrate someone, especially when they are in the building phase, right? Constructive opinions are something different, but just on the go, summa koduthu poradhu. But you shaped the entire initiative around people giving you criticisms and feedbacks and do this, do that, and everything. How did that even come up?
So I think the whole idea behind Slurp Shop was to teach people how to build a restaurant and to kind of break down the steps and trying to demystify the whole process. A lot of times people end up asking for consultants and whatever else, and we're like, I'm not sure how much value they really add, given that if they were really good at what they did, they'd be running their own restaurants and they wouldn't be consulting for you in the first place. So trying to figure out if this was a situation where we could open source that much information and get the community to come together to see if if being transparent through that whole building process can genuinely help other people, and it looks like it has. I mean, I think that playbook is being used right now.
Right.
I keep still getting questions about it, and the idea was really simple. I mean, and this is literally how I'd like restaurants to be. We don't focus on takeout, delivery, nothing. It's just simple, small, experiential restaurants that are cozy, that deliver, I would say, at least an 8 on 10 food. Because a 10 on 10 chase might not, worth most people's effort. I mean, unless you're doing like you're going for Michelin star or Glory or whatever. That's not the kind of restaurants that feed people. You need a lot of, time, money, resources to be able to do it. These are restaurants that you can make a livelihood out of, right? And you can continue to be part of your lifestyle, and that you and your family can fall back on. And that's the model that we kind of led with. And I think it's an exceptional product. I mean, it's small, it delivers, and the numbers have been great. So we're pretty happy.
That's great to hear. And I mean, the model itself was around helping people understand the process of building a restaurant. So that way it was good. Now just winding the clocks back. What were the defining moments of your childhood that made you say, okay, food it is, or why food?
Yeah, look, I honestly wish I had a like a smart answer to this.
No, please. It's Sandesh's answer. No smart, unsmart.
Honestly, I don't know, Sriram. I've toyed with so many ideas, and I continue to be this person that is constantly exploring. While we're talking about the restaurant business on one side, I'm talking about coffee on another and chocolate on another. And we're trying to figure out how we could, change packaged food. These are just ideas that we're constantly dealing with. Back in the day, it was cars, design, baking, I guess, on the side. And didn't expect this to be a real career choice till much later on in my life, when I had to take a decision of whether it was pretty much a decision that I had to take purely from survival standpoint at that point. And then I had to make that call and say I had to double down on this to figure out life. I don't think until that point I was really serious about anything, forget food. And I think this change happened somewhere around 2011. Till then, all of these were great experiments because there was the security of a roof over my head and the support of the family till that point in time. But after that, it all changed. It became a business.
Right. But this, more to do with pre-2011 or your experimental phase and a lot of things. Like there is a sense of liking or passion that drives you to do what you do, right? Like without the pressure of.
Look, I would. I mean, you can be passionate about multiple things, and that's the. I mean, at least that's my philosophy. For me, I think it was a curiosity that drove me, and at that time, validation was easy amongst friends and family, and then you kind of double down on it, and then you only get better when you start practicing, learning, training yourself. It's like any art form, right? The more you train, the more you practice, the more you learn, the more you refine, and that was kind of essentially how things were getting laid out in my world, and one thing led to another, and
Sure.
we are here.
Right.
20 years in. It started in 2006.
Right.
So yeah.
Nice. So, would you consider it, a privilege to have had the chance to explore a lot of things when you were, growing up?
Of course.
Right.
Of course. I mean, well, my parents weren't too happy, but I still had the privilege of being able to do it. Whether they were supportive in this journey or not is secondary. That's a separate topic of discussion. But I think we have to acknowledge the privilege, right? I mean, we were in a place where I didn't have to suffer consequences for a considerable amount of time. Be it what I did, because I was able to pull off what I could and then reap in those benefits quite quickly. And being part of an ecosystem that was able to adopt the product that we were putting out and accept that. And so yeah, I mean, I guess also circumstantially timing was great because there was really nothing else happening at that time.
Nice.
So yeah, all of that is privilege.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fully acknowledge the fact that I was privileged,
Right. Right.
and there's no second guessing that.
True. True. That's so nice of you to acknowledge that privilege that you had to explore a lot of things, and there is of course the challenging part of convincing your ecosystem to say like I'm going to do this. It's something that I had as well. And they have a template, right? Like you do this, do this, do this, and secure yourself, and then you probably go into your passion. And by the time I go into that passion, and I don't know, right? But there are a lot of examples of people who have done that, like went the way till 40s, 45s, and then said, okay, I'm going to step back and follow my passion, photography, and a lot of things. And people have done that as well. How did that part of convincing your ecosystem? I mean, if at all they were convinced, but how did that part?
I don't think they were really convinced till much later on in my life.
Right.
I
Of
think
course,
it
when
was
they saw that it's working out, but
yeah, and I think saw when it was working out really well. So I think it was maybe 8-10 years of doing this to finally get people to take me seriously. I mean, it's funny because even sometimes Mansi and I have our conversations. She's like, "Can you?" It's something as simple as, "Oh, do you know the recipe for this?" I'm like, "Well, I've done it all my life. I should be able to figure out how to make a pancake without a recipe book." But sometimes it's even for her. She still is, I think, in some sense stuck in that time where everything was exploratory, right? Everything was curiosity, and fighting for validation after a point just stopped making sense. Right? You go ahead and do what you believe. Uh, sure, and the world will call you crazy, but that's okay.
true, true, right. And the transition to taking it seriously, or the laboratory part of it, you started with Sinful Something, and the idea of serving desserts with beakers and syringes. This is definitely not a chef's idea. This is more of a storyteller's idea. Like I want to do something, right? What motivated you probably to do that?
Here is the honest idea.
Okay.
We ran out of money to buy glassware and crockery before we opened, when we bought beakers
Okay.
for volume. I mean, back then small weighing scales were not very accurate; they were expensive. So we were going by volume measure for standardization of recipes. So we had a whole bunch of beakers and test tubes and stuff. And they were like, okay, let's just serve milkshakes in these beakers because we know it's 200 ml and it's already marked and it's graded. And then people are like, oh, it's chocolate laboratory and beakers. And then we double down. And once the market kind of validates the idea, then you double down and you add syringes, then you add experiments, and then you rechange your menu
Right.
to kind of reflect that. But otherwise, no, honestly, I don't think we thought it through that much when we first started.
Right.
It was incidental.
It was a crisis.
That's it. It was just kind of unveiled its own self at that point.
Right. Right. That's great. Like I mean, we are in the 10th year. I can imagine, right? Like I mean, no one really. Of course, apart from our ecosystem, our students, our parents, and people who were first-hand beneficiaries of what we did, like the classes or anything. People really didn't know or even bother to know what we were doing, right? What we are trying to do, put art out there as a lifestyle and not like a skill to master or a subject to, excel at, right? There is always this grade system. Like you're learning music, which grade are you in, or are you learning, anything else, right? Like an art, like watercolor, texture. There are a lot of things, and we tried to promote this as more of a lifestyle. Like today's kids come here, learn music. Once they turn 30, after like a stressful day of work, we don't want them to pick their phone. We want them to pick their instruments. So can that happen that way? And for that, we didn't need all these, I mean, with due respect, we don't need overqualified gurus to really, teach Sarigama, right? We need facilitators who can understand what you want. Do you like movie songs? You learn movie songs.
Right.
Like, let me teach you directly that no Sarigama, nothing. Like, just get what you want, right?
Right.
Like you go to a restaurant. I mean, I'm not interested in, the process and everything. Like for someone as a consumer, like I'm interested, obviously, but for someone who goes in, right? And can art be that way? Is how we wanted to
awesome.
do,
Yeah.
and we're here. I take a lot of inspiration from what you told, right? Like, oh, after 10 years of being there, and people validate today, but somehow I don't even get the sense of, okay, oh, this person validated the idea. Now it's
Yeah,
gone. No,
after a while it
எனக்கு
doesn't
இப்போ
matter.
அது it's not even there in the mind. So from Sinful Something to Sandy's Chocolate Laboratory, that's this entirely defined, you know. The young crowd of Chennai, like they used to say, like I was here. This became the dating spot. This became the meeting spot. This became the how did it feel to slowly starting to redefine the Chennai's landscape of cafes?
Uh, okay. By the way, if I would have had a royalty on the number of marriages that are initiated at Sandy's, I think I'd be a millionaire by now. But it's crazy how the city quickly accepted it as part of their ecosystem, and it, look, honestly, it feels surreal. It started in 2009, and people still talk about it. Yeah, but there's a point of time in your life where you are more than that one idea, and that was also shaped by Sandy's for me, saying that don't let one restaurant or brand define who you are, and which is probably why we kind of broke that shackle and went and did other things and not necessarily just scale Sandy's as a brand. So yeah, I mean, it's been positive on multiple fronts, but not necessarily from a transformation for the ecosystem, but more transformation for myself also. So it's one of those serendipity moments where you realize you're on one track, hoping that you discover transformation through your journey, but it also transforms your life. So
Right, right, right,
that's how I've looked at
right.
that transforming, going from a small 70 square foot dessert store to now the multiple restaurants we run.
Right. So we were just talking about the Sandys, how it defined the culture for youngsters at that point of time, how it became a dating spot, how it became a meeting spot, where friends get together and everything, right? And you were just mentioning it was surreal to experience that. Um, but you also mentioned something on the lines of transformation.
Right.
It transformed you to do a lot more things.
Right.
What exactly would did the transformation look like? Is it diversification, or is it if you have to go define what the transformation looked
I
like?
think I think it's more confidence in my ability to be able to build something. I've always been this one person saying, because I don't have skills as a musician, as a engineer. I always had this feeling like infrastructure was my strength. I mean, the fact that I had the restaurant was my identity and my ways to make a living or whatever. And that's one thing that I always envy about artists. Right? You don't need anything. You need yourself. Right?
Right.
Either an instrument, a paintbrush, or canvas, or whatever. Right? I mean, it's just that.
Right.
And I felt like that was the one scary moment for me in my life, saying, what if this thing all burnt down? How would I be able to take care of my family? Would I be able to find a future with all of this? And I think that kind of got unlocked along the way when I was doing this whole transformation, saying, well, I can be anything I want to be in the culinary space. And went on to try multiple things, and obviously we've had more than moderate success.
Right.
So
Right.
I think that was it. I think it was more the seeking creativity purely for
Joy of it. Like,
yeah. I think joy for sure, but I think more looking towards creativity as a source of I wouldn't say confidence, but more being self-assured. I think that was what for me that whole experience was, that transformation was.
Right, right. Got it. I mean, as you rightly, one place where I would probably have a second thought is basically you told I can't play an instrument or something. I totally believe because even as a musician, I don't really fit into the mainstream
Yeah, yeah.
music of things, right? So I think the way you do something is the art. it's not the art itself, right? The way you do something is the art. I mean, my wife still says I make bad coffee, right? So, I mean, like you have really explored into that side of things, and I believe that is truly, an artist's work. So it's really not what you do; it's the way you do it that defines a lot of things. I know a lot of people who do music in a very commercial, mainstream way, like Murchacha in the class Murchacha, like in the part of Murchacha, right? You know, a lot of restaurants, everything has its own pros and cons, right? So that is one part, because you pretty much are an artist, like even if it's the infrastructure of things, right? That's one.
No, but I agree with you. I think I've come to that point of realization saying I am a little more than that kitchen and that restaurant. No?
True. And you when it grew, right, it looked like something that's bigger than you, like the Sandy's whole picture. But at one point, I think you had to let that go and go into some other initiative, like not really involve yourself in the day-to-day operations. And then there was another thing coming up. Then you let it go and went to other things. Like while you were attached to every other thing, this idea of building something, watching it grow big, and then okay, it's now grown. Let me let it go and then go pursue this. How does that thought of reinventing yourself come again and again?
It's it. It's just the pursuit of curiosity. It's not perfection. It's just to try and see what you can challenge yourself with and what new skills can you learn and how can you be better at it. And it's just that continuous endeavor. That's it. I mean, it has no other like
Got it.
deep meaning to it. It's just
Right. No, my thought was like, for instance, let's say curiosity, but within that zone, right? Let me be more curious about Sandy's. அது இல்லாம, like you really consciously made a choice to explore something different, right?
because I feel like that brand Sandy's was the limiting thing, right? People were so used to that brand for so many years. People experienced it a certain way, and people really don't like change. I mean, so they go back to that thing, and which meant that I was stuck doing that same kind of format over and over again. I felt like that was extremely limiting for me.
Right.
And that was what I was talking about earlier about the transformation, right? And saying, if you could do this, can you try something else? And where you're able to change your identity that works for that brand and build skill sets that work for that brand. And that pursuit.
Right.
And Sandy's gave me the confidence to say, okay, I could do that, now I can do something else. And then that's
Right.
pretty much how it moved from one to another.
Got it. Right. And to just one more thing that I hear from a lot of people, including my student's parent and also a student, like Ms. Janani here, who has been there in the space for a lot of time, and a lot of people, Ratish. And so it was a thing to work at, have some shot at working at Sandy's, from whatever I hear. And it a lot of people who have been there like for 30 days, 60 days, they still say it was the time of my life, like to be there, do it and all that. How do you approach mentorship, right? Like if someone comes to you and says, I want to be in this space, I want to grow here, like I want to start a restaurant and I really want to work under your guidance. And how does that approach work?
Look, I mean, I think the first and foremost thing is you approach either mentorship, helping, whatever you call it, right? I mean, you advise purely with the intent that you want the other person to win. And I think that's the bare basic intent, right? That you don't want, it's not about what you want or how they could impact you or your business or whatever. If you feel like you're giving them the right advice, it is about making sure that you tell them that despite that they could be your competition. Like I think for the longest time, Janani was competing with us, right, in that same space. And later on, I mean, we joined hands much later. But the idea was, you'd never look at something as saying what is somebody good at and feel threatened by them when they come to you for advice. And that bit of honesty you should be willing to kind of share and be transparent about.
Right.
The second thing is I'm a burn and learn kind of person. I throw you in the deep end. I'll set some guardrails and I'm going to get you to figure it out. I'm like, the worst thing that can happen is you might lose a little bit of money, in the whole process of undoing, redoing, whatever. But the whole idea is that you have to go and and learn. And I can tell you a lot of things, but till you actually experience it, you're never going to believe me. There's always going to be a bias.
Right. Right.
So usually within that guardrails, so that they don't kind of fall off the curbs, you get them to kind of experience it,
Right.
and then rein back,
Right.
and then say, well, this is probably how I would approach it,
Right.
and then reason it out more than saying, trust me, I've done it, I know this. The selfish motive there is also that I get to learn new things that I would have not thought of
Yeah.
at that time. I mean, to see how people are exploring and approaching problems. And that gives you a new perspective. Whether it's effective or not is secondary. But the point is being able to see it. And there's only so many paths that you can take. And to see multiple paths converge at the same solution point is always exciting.
Right. That's great. One thing that I would like to, talk about is basically this recent, handover of Sandy's to Oriental.
Yeah.
Right. Was there a conscious decision, or how did that? Because it is very close to Satyam going to PVR, right? So.
So a lot of people have compared that.
Oh, right, right. So why, and
It was just time to move on. Yeah. It was just time to move on. I felt like there was just too much baggage associated with a large corporate already being part of that whole ecosystem. It stopped being fun.
Right.
And at no point, and I think I'd come to a point where I didn't have to let Sandy's define me anymore. So it just seemed like the easy next step.
Right. Right.
Honestly, people ask me if I'm like upset or sentimentally attached or not a day. It's like, I'm like, at one point I'm like, I'm done. Till whatever time they want to manage and hold that brand, they have, I think, rights to do it for some more time. And I don't even know if I'll restart it once it comes back to me. I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
I mean, we could. I mean, you never say never in the restaurant business, they say. But yeah, but at this point, just so much. I'm having so much more fun doing so many other things that this is not really.
Right. All right. And maybe you kind of redefined. You're into the hospitality space, I would say. Experiential dining, or food on plate. அப்படின்றத தாண்டி, like, you really thought about a lot of, let's say, Radioroom, for instance, or that comes in this bar and nightlife space, right? And there is this OG Ramen, there is Slurp Shop, there is this side of things, right? You seem to focus more on the feeling, the experience of it, not just like a plain Jane. There's always something different. Like, even if it was a token system at Paper Roast, it was still something different. Like, it felt different. What motivates you to redefine, or make it more like an experience and not just it differentiates between a regular restaurant and yours? I don't know how better to put this, but do you consciously take that effort, or do you say, okay, this person coming to Slurp Shop should have this experience? Like,
I think that dictates everything. Your experience and customer journey kind of dictates what kind of restaurants you build, and being able to establish that upfront is very, very useful. I keep telling my team, I said, we're not in the business of peddling food. We don't need multiple channels to sell food. We want people to come to us, to experience us in our entirety. Whether it's like sitting at a back alley ramen bar, or like a noodle shop in Hong Kong, or whatever. The idea is to create that small cozy vibe and kind of get people to kind of experience that and live that moment, right? And there's no obligation to say, oh, how do we increase sale at every opportunity? I don't think that's something that we've done. And if that was the case, we'd be forcing delivery down people's throats. And I'm like, I don't want people to experience that. I don't want to be a commodity. I want people to be able to come to our restaurants, eat it, experience it, like it, dislike it, form an opinion. But I want that to happen at my venue, where they're able to at least get 90% of the intended experience.
Right.
And I'm not going to claim that we've got all of it right, or we've got even most of it right. I think we've got a large part of it, right? And we appeal to at least a 9 out of 10 customers that walk in through our doors. And to be honest with you, I'm very happy with that outcome. I'm not here chasing perfection and losing my mind about getting great at one thing that I've compromised or not done, explored so many other things that I want to explore. Uh, I come from the school of thought saying specialization is for insects. I like doing and surgeons, but yeah, and I feel like other human beings should have the ability to do so many things and fall in love with so many things. And you don't have to necessarily have, like I think I started this conversation saying, you don't have to be passionate about one thing.
Got it.
Yeah, I did. And I completely, that's pretty much how the whole restaurant philosophy is also evolved.
True. That's nice. Um, before we close this restaurant side of things, I just want to Google something in front of you.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to type something. Most, right, riskiest business. Right? In Google, I'm just Googling it. The first thing that it shows, right?
It's Google AI when you need it.
Oh, right. Just slowly. Independent restaurants. It's the first thing that comes in restaurants and cafes. 90%. Right? So, Google says so. The data says so.
Well, if Google says it, it's right, no?
Debatable now with everything now.
Yeah, that's true.
Google wants to be right to the person using it.
That's true.
It doesn't want to be factually right. So am I satisfying the person who's searching? That's what. But at least I would like to believe, this is in a way true. With a risk profile of 90%, what really motivates? Because you spoke about the business side of things. How do you really manage that risk? இப்போ ஒரு சேயிங் ரிஸ்க் எடுத்தா ரஸ்க் சாப்பிட்ற மாதிரி அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நீங்க வாழ்க்கை முழுக்க ரஸ்க் மட்டும் தான் சாப்பிட்ருக்கீங்க.
பல்ல இருந்தா பக்கோடா சாப்பிடலாம்.
Right. So what
I have strong teeth. What can I say?
Okay.
No, I think it also boils down to, look, for people that are getting into it at the beginning, it seems like risky because there's so many unknowns. We've done this now for 20 years, Sriram. At some point, you have learnings, you have benchmarks, you have, a network effect that you're already built. They say it's the first restaurant is hard, the second restaurant's a nightmare, and you're numb from the third one onwards.
Right.
Then it's a formula, right? And if you don't overstretch and over leverage and you're not trying to overreach, as long as you play within the framework and you understand the basics, right? And you check your ego at the door. You don't have to build restaurants for yourself. You're building for an audience.
Right.
And being very cognitive of that. I think it is fairly straightforward. And I'll tell you, while people say it's risky, it's all of this, it's also one of the few common sense businesses. You don't need large skill sets. You can literally hire for every skill set in this. You don't need to know how to cook. You don't need to know how to serve. You don't need to run numbers. You can hire for all of this. And if you're able to use your common sense, this is the one business that you can build fairly easily. No, I honestly don't get the hype about why it's so risky, how difficult it is. And you just have to apply your mind, be patient about it, and be willing to grind. And this is the kind of business that you have to grind. There is no other option. You have to grind. It's a day in, day out. Like I said, it's one dumpster fire after another that you'll have to be willing to put out. And over a period of time, you'll realize that there's a system in place to be able to address it. And once you start using the system to kind of address it, then it becomes fairly straightforward, I guess.
Right. Got it. So a personal question here. There with entrepreneurs, you just before we started the interview, you said it's every day we have to deal with a lot of things, right? And was there a breaking point or a point from which things flipped? Would you say there was this one moment where I just decided it's going to flip for the good, right? Was there? With a lot of stories that we hear, right? People say there was this one phase that redefined everything. So was there a breaking point or a breaking phase for you that flipped everything?
I think I was getting married to Mansi. And I'm like, I know Now I have support that's going to ride with me through highs and lows.
Right.
And we kind of made that decision, right? And
Right.
saying, no matter what, we've got each other's back and we'll figure it out. I think if it's probably the only defining moment in my life, forget just this career path. I think knowing that, well, it's not like we don't argue. It's not like we don't have our disagreements.
I totally understand.
It's not like you don't get called out for your stupidity once in a while.
Right.
But look, it is what it is. It is knowing that there is one other person that believes in you. There is one more person than yourself that now believes in you. And I think that is truly defining, in my opinion, and for me. Yeah, that's as simple as that.
Right, right, right. So usually in my conversations, I never ask personal questions with names, right? But in this conversation, you mentioned Mansi twice, right now. So can you go more about the impact this relationship has had on things that you know?
I don't even know my bank account details, boss. She pretty much controls my life.
Right.
Like, if I'm making any sensible decisions financially, if I've learned something about being prudent, I learned it all from her. I'm otherwise the so-called creative bit in this ecosystem, right? Yeah, and are creative people the only ones building restaurants? The answer is no. You can be incredibly creative, but be a shitty restaurateur or a shitty chef. It just so happens that
Right.
you may not necessarily make sense at all. And here is somebody on the other side of that spectrum that's saying, well, all this is great. You have 500 mouths to feed. What is the decision that you're making?
Right.
And this is the impact.
True. True.
If you screw up, these are things that will go wrong. So don't let passion impede good judgment.
Right.
And I think that is something that she kind of brings to the table. And she's extremely numbers driven. And she's very, to a point where she's dispassionate about this, right? She's like, I hate this business, but at least let me make money out of it. So
Right.
I think we hear the fact that I think I'm going to quit every day, but then she showed up every day for the last 16, 17 years. So,
Wow. Wow. Right. Right.
it is what it is. And look, it is tough. I mean, at our scale, it is tough. And having 3 kids under 5, and it's so much more difficult on Mansi than it is on me. I don't have mom guilt. She has to deal with that. And being away from the kids and at work and trying to keep an eye on them. It's not easy. I mean, and knowing that you have a partner that's taking care of that while you go around doing what you're doing, that itself is quite defining. I mean, I know a lot of times people ask me, how is it to work with your wife? And I'm like, look, we built this together. There's no two ways about it, right? I mean, it's not a one-person job. So I don't know any other way. We've pretty much done this together all our lives. So yeah, like every relationship, every partnership, we have good days and bad days, and we deal with it.
True. True. I totally relate. Right. Like a lot of things. But I take my lessons as well with that this thing. Right. Even today, I was saying like I'm going to this 11-day vipassana. Like after this, like that it just feels like so much privilege.
Yeah.
After I mean, she's been taking care of a lot of things, and yeah, I can agree, and lessons learned. Anyway, so to just have this last piece of your opinion, or not opinion exactly, your take on what we are trying to build with the art ecosystem, right? You must have been to a lot of places, concerts or academies, classes, or I mean, you have kids, like extracurricular activities and everything. So, and you also been to sanas,
Yeah.
and you have a fairly good idea about what we are trying to do with art learning, the space, and everything. So, what is your take on about what we are trying to do? Would you have a different thought about, oh hey, can you do this and this, right? Like the other day I was talking to Gokul, and he was the chef Goku. He was saying like, can we do a grazing table of sorts? Like you have like parents and kids coming, and can you do something with music and everything? There are a lot of these ideas that come, but from that POV and also the business POV and the art POV, right? What is your opinion about the space that we have built, the things that we are trying to do, and yeah.
Look, I think a quick takeaway is what you said, right? I mean, for you, art is the art form, not the way to achieve it, and how you've not been rigid about going about it. Like you said, you can come in and start learning to sing film songs. It's probably what most people end up singing also in their spare time or whatever the moment of entertainment. I don't think there's a place in the city that provides that. That is, they've managed to put a structure around how to train for purpose. I think it's very, just generally, I think art itself is, even culinary school and everything is very rigid. And having a place where you can do that without judgment is amazing. Look, I'm the worst person to give business advice, so I'm going to refrain from any of that. I want to let like somebody with definitely more experience on that form. Look, I think the opportunity also here is, I feel like you guys have already got all the bits and bobs that you need to kind of set up, and the audience to start getting, putting a similar structure to what you're doing to food and craft, and people being able to use their hands to learn how to cook, bake, whatever. I think that genuinely is an opportunity set. There is no place in the city that has a facility that, I mean, people do cooking classes, but it's not a way to build a skill. You're learning that one thing, and that's it. Otherwise, you have to go to proper culinary school. There are no weekend programs where you can actually become a baker, or there's no, programs after work that you can come in and hone cooking skills, for example. And I think that, and being able to build relatable cooking skills, right? You'll go and learn 2 or 3 recipes from somewhere, and you come back and practice it or whatever. Or there are culinary schools. There's nothing in between. There's no way to actually hone a skill.
Right.
How can I cook better for my family, or how can I cook better? I mean, and this is a problem with most dads. They want to contribute, but they don't know how, because they just don't have the exposure to it. But what's amazing is I see a lot more millennial dads cooking than the previous generations, which is always a good thing. But yeah, at least a way to kind of see how they can hone that skill, right? I mean, I feel like that is definitely a need of the hour. And I don't know if you guys have the space to accommodate it.
Right. No, when we build a space, we'll come to you. So you'll be the brand ambassador for that. Like, be Sandesh certified.
Why not?
Probably. But yeah, we will. I mean, as I told you, art is the way you do it, right? Like, we want spaces that doesn't have the pressure of certification.
Right.
Like, just learn it for the fun of it. Like, I want to be able to cook for my family in the next 3 months. Like, what are the recipes? Like, do we have spaces like that without compromising on the quality of the build of the space, right? Like, you need, if I need this, if I did this any lesser, I wouldn't have been able to achieve the impact, right? So, panna correct of proper, that's something. But anyway, super. So, we have a fun section.
Okay.
It's basically fill in the blanks. It's more like rapid fire, which means the answers have to be instant.
Okay.
But it need not be one word or one sentence.
Understood.
You can really, if you feel the need to articulate.
The blank is large.
Yeah, the blank is large. Paragraph. Google Forms. Right. So, art is.
Wow, rapid fire, and then I'm stuck. Freedom.
Right. Many people don't know that I
used to dance at a period of time.
Right. Come again, you used to dance?
I used to dance at a period of time.
Oh.
Back when I was a kid. And I think I got stage fright after, then I stopped dancing.
Then you should come back now.
Pass.
There is sanas. There is sanas.
Hard pass.
Right. Okay. Sandy's chocolate laboratory was born because
I failed at math so long that I realized engineering wasn't a career choice.
Right. Okay. Chennai's food culture in the early days was
Authentic, genuine, and I think that's true to today also. I think Chennai puts out better food in terms of quality and experiences compared to most other cities in the country. We get unfairly compared to markets which are much larger, where the opportunity is that much, diners are that many. Given our market size and the kind of people that we are in the dining out instances that Chennaiites have, I think we've done a phenomenal job.
right.
I mean, you'll get an average meal in Chennai, but it's very rare to find a bad meal in Chennai. Unfortunately, our standards are high, so we think most average meals are also bad. But it's not the case with most other cities. You get just absolute garbage. Just because it's cheap, people end up flocking there. I don't think any of those would ever survive in a Chennai context.
True. Yeah, I'm just realizing. Yeah. Right. And good that you didn't mention any other city's name outrightly.
And I have a long list.
Right. Um, the restaurant I'm most proud of is
Sure. Wow. You're going to piss off a lot of people now. It's definitely not Sandy's. That much I know.
okay.
I think Slurp Shop. Because we turned a collaborative experience into something that genuinely contributed to people's development and growth while we were trying to build a business as well. And I think it is helping a lot of people break in and enter into the space.
Nice. I see that is also a safe answer.
Is it safe?
It's hard to disappoint people with that answer, at least.
Maybe, but that's also the true answer. I don't know, honestly, what are the other restaurants? Look, every restaurant is special in its own way. We've got
Right,
our own
right.
channel.
But
It
yeah, I
feels
get-
like a Miss India answer, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, we
Right,
have,
right.
the opportunity set is quite wide, right?
Got
I
it.
mean, so we've gone after things very specifically. There's so much to like out of every one of the projects that we've gone and built because we've done something defining with them.
Got it. That's nice.
But nothing more meaningful than Slurp Shop for me.
Yeah.
They are so most meaningful.
That's very nice. Like that just summarizes where you put your heart at, right? Like to make sure people at the end of the day, get what they deserve, like the quality of it or the training of it. So, food for me, of course, it is a part of the business, but it's not just a business, but it is also
Creative expression. I mean, which is why people ask me, do I cook still? And the answer is I cook every day. Every day.
right.
If I'm at work, I'm doing something in the kitchen. Otherwise, I'm at home when I'm cooking. And people can have, I can have an extremely long day at work and I can still be comfortable to come back home and cook. I'm very happy doing it. It's not a chore.
Right.
And it also is very effortless for me because I don't like to complicate what I cook. It's very simple and it kind of reflects in the kind of food we put out also. But be very process oriented. It's true to what we do, but yeah, it is simple. It is honest food. So
Right.
for me, that is my creative expression.
Got it. Nice. With your limited exposure, Sriram is
Sriram is that what your question is?
the fill in the blanks, basically. Sriram is
Authentic, genuine, humble. So, and I mean, those are qualities that you don't. I think the first time we met was with Janani, right? I think she couldn't stop singing praises about you and Raghavi, and it went on and on. So, realize that what kind of people that you are, and it kind of came through in our multiple conversations since.
Right.
We still haven't caught up for that coffee yet, though.
Yeah. So, Siddharth was my first guest.
Oh, really?
The first episode. Yeah. He was. There was a part of it where he, before that conversation, he mentioned like he used to put stories. I was getting jealous actually the other day when they were it's a thing, right? A lot of people actually, Janani sometimes on the you have a proper coffee.
Set up at home.
That feels like a coffee laboratory itself, right? With that machine. But anyway.
That is my guilty pleasure.
Right. Right. But yeah, thank you so much for being
of course.
honest. There is this one last section where we, want our guests to leave a piece of themselves here with us through one of their art forms. We were really breaking our heads to, see what could be there, because we obviously can't make you cook here, obviously, to leave a piece of your self here. But I came up with something with the help of Darshana here. So if this is anything that's not easy or not good, you just have Darshana right here. So this was, we'll give you a set of ingredients.
Okay.
You're going to tell us what could the recipe be, right? So what's Darshana given me? Okay, so there is desserts in disguise.
Desserts in?
Disguise.
Okay.
So these are the ingredients that you've got to make something: pumpkin, dark chocolate, couscous, jaggery, rose petals, halloumi.
Easy. You can make a cookie or a cake with it. So you do a pumpkin. You wouldn't use halloumi in its traditional sense, but you can do a pumpkin dark chocolate cake. It works really well, or a cookie. And you can, instead of using salt on top, you can break up bits of halloumi and melt it in, and you've got a bit of texture, you've got saltiness, it kind of lends itself well. Pumpkin actually is an incredible ingredient. A lot of people don't give it enough credit. I love pumpkin pie, for example. That's another thing that you can do. You can do a dark chocolate and pumpkin pie. Works really well. Halloumi and what are the couscous is again poppy seeds are. It's good to put you to sleep, but it's a great thing. It actually puffs up if you're able to puff it. So you can use that to create a jaggery caramel with your poppy seed. It's like a poppy seed, caramel poppy seeds, like caramel popcorn. You use that as a garnish for the dish. So it works really well.
Right.
I mean, it can go anyway.
Those are like a lot of recipes right there from this. And coastal curveball, right? These are the ingredients: prawns, green mango, tender coconut flesh, idiyappam, miso, and curry leaves.
Yeah, I think I'd default to doing a prawn mango curry with miso for added umami. And obviously, curry leaves work really well with it, and you can eat that with idiyappam. So it's actually quite safe. I mean, I could see it coming together quite well.
Right. Okay. That's nice. But just this one thing that just comes to my mind right away before I end this.
Right.
You're just able to instantly curate a lot of things. Like I'm sure even if I gave you some two contrasting ingredients, you'd be able to come up with this thing. And you didn't really pursue culinary in the formal sense. Like you didn't go to college or anything, but you still are one of the most sought after person in its own in your own way, right? But you've also worked around chefs who have been through this formal training. You name them, you have them, right? How was it, in your initial days interacting with them, or how did it make you feel? Because for instance, let's say initial days, now it's a totally different story for me. Initial days, I would feel like, okay, this person has undergone this much training and everything. I mean, do I understand their vocabulary? Do I, get to talk what they speak and everything? How was it for you interacting? And
Same thing. I think I fought hard enough to fit in the room. And it's something that nobody has ever seen me in, and I never will be in one, is a chef's jacket. I've never worn one. And the reason is, I mean, I respect the time and effort that chefs who have gone through formal training or vernacular training have spent hours in the kitchen honing their craft. I feel like in some sense I was gifted with privilege, and being able to explore this as an art form first and then kind of work my way into being in the kitchen. Look, I'm very happy to be toe to toe in the kitchen with most chefs. I'm very comfortable now because I'm comfortable in who I am. Early days, it was obviously imposter syndrome was constant. And I guess it was also just at that point, it was just making sure I felt like I belonged, so I had to get as good or better than other people in the room. So I worked twice as hard, I'd read twice as much, I'd practice that much more, I'd experiment constantly. So I guess those early formative years have kind of helped. And also I've never looked at, so baking is a science. I think that's well understood. Everything is measures and things. And so for cooking, it started off as truly understood that it is an art form, and being able to translate that into a language that people can immediately understand. And I had to first understand it myself and kind of figured out how I can break it down so that I can assimilate it.
Right.
And once we get to that point, or once we got to that point, everything became easier.
Easier. That's nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, for your time today,
Not at all,
for
sure.
being honest, for being, candid about a lot of things, and giving us much needed insights, giving a lot of people watching, this video, wanting to start their own restaurant or wanting to become a sought after chef, or doing a lot of things in the food space. I'm sure this video will be, this particular episode or a conversation would be of great use. Thank you so much, Sandesh,
My pleasure.
for
Thanks for
being
having me,
here.
Sriram.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.